and welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online. We are 100% online Toastmasters club, Advanced Toastmasters with CCs or above. Welcome to our online meeting. Here are some online meeting tips. To mute your mic, click on the little mute button here. To mute your video, you can also toggle that on or off. So if you leave your seat, you can toggle that off so you're not leaving the stage unattended. You can use your headsets or earbuds. It will help you, and it'll also help us hear you better and decrease any background noises if you have any. You can adjust your view from your end by toggling back and forth from speaker view to gallery view. Now this is what is called a gallery view, and if you click on that button up at the top, it'll change it to speaker view, which is whoever is the active speaker is who you will see. The questions and notes for the speakers, or for anyone actually, you can click on the chat button and then you can find the individual's name and send them a private message, or you can send it to the group. But please do that in between speaking sessions so we're not distracting the speakers. This meeting will be recorded. It is our policy that by participating in the meeting that you agree that a recording will be available publicly on our YouTube channel and on our website. And in the event that you decide that you want to join our club, please let us know. And also start here just where it says become a member, and you can see the application, also the fee structure, and how to get started. And with that, I'm going to put the gavel down and say, welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online. And I'm going to go ahead straight into read our mission statement. I will be serving as your Toastmaster today. So our mission statement for our individual club is that we are an advanced Toastmasters club, which supports maverick leaders to have more impact by providing advanced feedback on leadership skills and discovering what it means to be an out-of-the-box, innovative leader. And today's theme, I just came up with this theme today, and the theme was, wouldn't you like to know? That's what the theme is. Wouldn't you like to know? Since we have a lot of opportunities to get to know some things today. And at this time, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, possibly. And if I can find my stop share button, there we go. Hi. And I'm going to introduce our roles for our meeting. Well, we don't have a grammarian yet. Angela, would you like to tackle doing both the timer and the grammarian role? Or would that be too much?
Am I timer today?
You are. Oh, no.
I'm an evaluator.
Francisco is right. I'm sorry. I was thinking of next week. So you're an evaluator. Would you like to also maybe be in a grammarian or an all-counter in addition to that?
I can do that.
And I can do the timer until Francisco gets here. If he's not, I can do that. And Aaron's eating. So stay along. So thank you, Angela. And so as far as our meeting goes, when I'm going to pull out for me, I will be the timer today as well as a Toastmaster. So you'll see the green when you have reached the beginning or the go time of your speech, yellow when it's halfway through, and red when it's time to stop speaking. So those are the timers. And also with the table topics, when we get to those, I'll do the same thing. And at this time, I would like to introduce our first speaker, who is Andrea Sanger. And Andrea Sanger is finishing her first book in her quest to complete her Advanced Communicator Silver this summer. She's working out of the communication on videos, instructing on the internet, and she will have a 5 to 7 minute training and leave 2 to 3 minutes for Q&A at the end. So, and her topic is, wouldn't you like to know how to use our ATO website for evaluation? So please help me welcome Andrea as she helps us using ATO's website for evaluations.
Thank you, everyone. Let me share my screen here and we'll get started. Just a sec. Wrong one. Discard that. Today we will be using the Advanced Toastmaster online to check our evaluations and to help us be organized as a group. This is a kind of an out of a box, but not out of a box thing for us to do. So let's just get started. First, you want to log on to the screen. Okay. This is really bad. It was working just a minute ago. We tried it. There we go. First, we're going to log onto the screen. You'll see, once you log into Advanced Toastmasters Online, you'll see something like this. The first thing you want to do is you can either try. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. We're not seeing it yet. Just to let you know.
You're still not seeing it?
Yeah, I want to make sure that we see it so we can.
Are you seeing it now? Okay.
Nope.
Okay, let's try it again. Okay. Got it? Yay. Okay, so when you first get into the screen, you'll see the log on button, which is right here. You can log in at that point. Actually, I like to go into the agenda for the day first when we're working on our evaluations. Choose the evaluation that for the day, whichever one it is that you want, and then you will come up with this screen. On this screen, this is the Advanced Toastmasters agenda. I know it's very difficult to see because it's kind of tiny there, but if you scroll down to where it is, where the speakers are, you're going to fill in 3 things here. You're going to make sure your name is there. You're going to fill in, ooh, that's bad. Sorry. You're going to fill in, the name, right there. You're going to fill in which project you're doing. You're also going to fill in the title. Those are the important things to fill in. But it's also helpful if you put in right here, if you put in your introduction for the day. That's really helpful for the people that are coming on after you. After you've done that, you want to go to the member dashboard. The member dashboard looks like this. And you're going to click on the Toastmaster button. Just an FYI for you, my Toastmaster dashboard is purple. That is because I went into your profile and I picked ectoplasm because I like purple. If you looked at the room I'm in right now, it's all purple. And you'd be kind of surprised, although you only see white behind me right now. From the evaluation, when you're first doing it, you're going to choose to give an evaluation. You're going to choose one. And I've chosen Lori's right here. I'm going to give her, it's a pathways evaluation. I click on it, and if I click on it, I'll get her evaluation, and I can start working on her evaluation right there. It's a pretty simple thing. She filled in her the agenda with all the proper information, so it was easy for me to pull that up. I also have done evaluations for someone like Dawn, who's working on her advanced communication speeches. All I do is click on hers, and again, her evaluation comes up. It's straight out of the book. So we're working with the same information that we would be if we were in a brick and mortar place, except that we are doing it online. This is important for us because we can also do evaluations for our competent leaders, for those of us who are still working with competent leaders. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of that evaluation form, you'll see the different roles and different things that you've done. So down here at the bottom, I was a Toastmaster for the day recently, and I click on it, and there's somebody could have evaluated me for that. You can also choose the roles down at the bottom to decide what you wanted to be evaluated for. to access the speech evaluation form during or just before we start in. You can do it from a Give Evaluation form also, and you just go to the next meeting, click on that particular person's evaluation, and their evaluation comes up. It's pretty simple stuff. When you're done giving your evaluation, typing in the information for your evaluation, always remember to save the changes. This is important, and we'll see that in a minute. When you're requesting an evaluation for someone, as I did with Aaron yesterday, I went into my speech, I clicked on it, and I said, send that evaluation to Aaron so that he could evaluate it. You'll see here that I can fill in the blanks there, especially when it's an older evaluation that I'm asking for. You'll see that you click on the down arrow and you can fill in what they are. So I was a couple of month ago or a few weeks ago, I did a toast, and then I asked Lori to evaluate it, and she didn't evaluate it online, so I can request it again from her and have her do that for me. You can also receive evaluations. These are the evaluations that I've already received from people for the speeches that I've done. You'll see that that July 11th isn't in that list. You can pull those up and look at them and see what they are as soon as you click on one. So communicating on video, you click on it and you can see the evaluation on your screen. You don't have to make a paper copy of it. It keeps it there for you, so you have it. You can come back to it at any time and look at it again. The next one is evaluations given. Those are the evaluations that you've given to somebody else. So in this one, I did feedback, and I did one for Dawn. And I have what I wrote to Dawn on my computer saved in my website, just like Dawn has her copy. In case she loses it or something happens, I can send her another copy of that at some point. Those are the things that we do when we're doing evaluations. It's important for all of us to do that. In the future, you'll see that for you, when you're turning in things to Toastmasters International to get awards, you're going to need that information to know that it's there. So try to use the website to make sure that everything that we need is there, everything that you need to get your awards is there. And I hope that you have fun doing it in the future. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Questions, anyone? Pretty simple. Trisha, do you have a question?
No, it's just setting up for being the next speaker. Sorry.
I can
I do
ask
have a
Andrea.
question. Oh, go ahead, Aaron.
No, Tammy first. Ladies first.
Andrea, I'm curious, when we have evaluated an ATO and say we want to use this information for our home club, should we print this off, or is there a way to take that, to prove that we did this speech here?
You might want to print it off for if you're going to take it into your brick and mortar club. We also, if I did not show it, but there's also a place where it shows all of the things that you've done. If you go down on that list on the menu on the left, it will show all of the things that you've done, and you can click on that. It shows all the CL things that you've done and all of the speeches that you've done in a nice succinct order. But you can just print that screen if you want to, the one that says evaluations given, those kinds of things. So, yes. Anyone else?
I could ask questions like, for example, how do I actually get to the screen of that, the dashboard? Like you have actually shown in the inside page of it. How do I actually access it from the home page to it?
I did show you, there's a little icon that says member dashboard. It's on the right side, about middle of the page. It says member dashboard, and it will take you right to it. Any other questions? Thank you, everyone. Hope that helped. Please use the website.
Thank you, Andrea. I am very happy that you shared that information because everybody wants to know. Wouldn't you like to know how to use that? And it's a question that everybody has asked at some point or another. How do we use those evaluations, or how do we get to those evaluations? So look forward to seeing that on our website in the future, so you can refer this to other people as they're becoming members, and asking the question, how do we do evaluations within Advanced Toastmasters Online? And then you can share that. The next speech today is Trisha Grow. And wouldn't you know like to know a little bit about Trisha Grow? So she's doing specialty speech number 1, speaking off the cuff today. And she recently completed her ACB and will now begin on her next goal, her Advanced Communicator Silver. Trisha will be sharing some things about her life. Let's find out what topic her evaluator will have her speak on today. And her evaluator today is, who's that evaluator?
That's me.
Yay, Angela.
Yes.
Go ahead, Angela.
Trisha, I would like to know more about your secret name.
Thank you. Okay. Just to assure your fears, I am not a secret agent. I am not revealing anything that would be detrimental to my life. I'm going to share with you why and how I created a secret name and what I use it for. Okay, I have to make a small confession. I was sharing these topics with my husband just a few nights ago, and he's like, secret name? He's like, what's your secret name? And I told him, he's like, that's not a secret. So once you hear it, you may also know my secret name. So how did I create my secret name and why? Well, this goes back just a few years ago when I was a freshman in college. So like many stories, this all happened because of a man. Yes, my first college crush. His name was Peter. He was the boys' side floor, third floor RA. And I had the maddest crush on him, even though he had to be at least 15 years my senior at the time. That didn't matter. I had thoughts for him. I used every excuse I could to be around him for whatever reason. Well, I was very pleasantly surprised one day when he approached me and asked me if I would like to hang out in his room. I thought, oh, yes. Well, when I got there, there was several other people. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. We proceeded to sit down, and he explained that we were going to play a game. Well, this wasn't a board game or a card game. This was an RPG. If you're not a gamer, that stands for Random Personal Group. So it could be anything. It can be Dungeons and Dragons. It can be GURP. It can be any kind of role-playing game at all. Well, we had to create characters. And I had no idea how to go about doing this. I'd never done anything something like that. So he told me what his character name was. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. How did you come up with that? He said, well, I took my last name and put it backwards. It's like, oh, I like that. So I wanted to still be a little bit creative. So I took my birthstone, which is Opal. And I took my maiden name, which is the only name I had at the time, and made that backwards. So my secret name is Opal Isner. Now, this can be like a proper name, Opal Isner, or I can use it like Madonna, Opal Isner. Either way, it works just perfectly fine. If you've ever received or sent me a personal email, you'll know this seems fairly familiar to you because it's my email address handle, Opal Isner So now you know the story of how I created it and sort of why. But what do I use it for? Well, I use it almost on a daily basis, as I said, in my emails. But I also play a lot of games online. And this name is what I use for most any character in any game that I am a part of is some variant of Opal or Opal Isner. And if my friends happen to be in that game, they see an Opal Isner, they know who that is. I hope that you've enjoyed getting to know me a little bit more by me sharing my story and how I created my secret name, why I created it, and what I use it for. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Trisha. That was super informative. And yes, that isn't a secret, is it? We all know you. At this time, we are going to move on to our table topics portion of the meeting. And Tammy Lang is our table topics master. So Tammy, if you can unmute yourself as I hand the meeting off to you. And you have from now until 2:30 to do your table topics, so you have lots of time.
Okay, you're going to hear my phone ring in the background. Just ignore it. It'll go to voicemail. My question is, I used this at a recent contest, and it went over pretty well. Let's see, who hasn't spoken? Aaron, this question will be for you. If aliens came to Earth and abducted you, and you had to explain why, what would you tell the aliens? What makes your country a great country to live in?
Okay, just buying technique. I try to repeat the question again.
I can do that. If aliens came to Earth and abducted you, and you had to explain to them the answer to this question, what makes your country so great?
Thank you, Mr. The Topic Master. The first thing is, my dear alien friends, you first hear a beep sound and you capture me from the plane. And this is the first thing that you are proud of capturing me for, because I'm a human being. Otherwise, you won't adopt me. I'm an experimental number one for you. So if you adopt me, basically the first thing you'll discover is that my blood type is different from you. I'm proud to be red. Okay? Red means passion. And red means I love people. So it's very different from aliens because I don't feel that your blood is the same type as mine. So I can donate some blood for you to be a mixed hybrid. Maybe that's my situation. The second situation would be that what makes my country or the world great is because we have food. We know how to cook food. If you want to employ me for the rest of your life, first of all, promote me to your lieutenant general so that I can take care of those alien friends. I can actually cook dishes for you. If you want a servant, at least give me a high-ranked servant title. At least I can actually make sure that I can cook food like sushi, those delicacies that you won't try in your other planets because it's either too nitrogen oxide place, or maybe there's no food around, it's just volcanoes. That's the second thing. The third thing is we are having Donald Trump. Why am I actually bringing Donald Trump in everywhere that I go? It's because we are actually making things happen. Because of people, we are able to make things come true. We have the permit. We have the wall. We have the China Great Wall. We also have lots of different artifacts that if you want us to make, clone us. I'm willing to be cloned. I can see a lot of errands. At least I know that I won't be killed because you will kill the wrong errand. Ladies and gentlemen, then this is the reason why we are proud, because we are able to make things that the aliens cannot make. At least my eyes are smaller than you, but yeah, that's how it goes. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Aaron. I will pose the same question to Angela. Angela, if aliens came to Earth and abducted you, what would you tell the aliens makes your country so great?
Oh boy, if aliens came and abducted me, I would say that one of the things that makes our country so great I'm struggling. I think one of the things that makes it great is the wide variety of individuals we have and the wide variety of opinions that we have in the country, and the fact that we are allowed to express those opinions and we're able to learn from each other. It's one of the things that our country was founded on, is the freedom of speech and freedom of opinion. And it's important that we remember that. Of course, I hear make your country great, and my mind immediately goes to politics, and that's not something I want to talk about, but it is true that what makes our country great is the variety. Madam Toastmaster, or Topics Master.
Thank you, Angela. All right, I'm going to stick with my alien theme. This question will be for Dawn. All right, so these aliens are going to come and abduct you, Dawn. What are 3 things that you would want to take with you? So aliens abduct you. What are 3 things you would want to take with you?
Well, if I'm going to be abducted by aliens, I certainly want to take my family with me, because this is an adventure that they are going to experience together, because I have no fear and I believe that all things are for good, and my family's going to be with me. We're all going to be abducted from aliens together. So I actually have my husband and 3 kids. Maybe I won't take all of them. Because it might be easier if I just take my 2 youngest ones, so let the other one figure out whether or not we need to be brought back to Earth or not. So my family, that would be one. I would also, I think I'd take some water, like take a water bottle in case I need some water and they're not ready to nourish me with water. And I would take a journal, because I would want to write down my experiences so I don't forget. So those are probably 3 things that I would take with me if I were abducted by aliens. Back to you, Tammy, and thank you so much for asking that question.
All right, do we have time for a couple more table topics? Okay. I will pose the same question to Andrea. Andrea, if you were abducted by aliens, what are 3 things you would want to take with you?
If I was abducted by aliens, the 3 things I'd want to take with me, the first one I thought actually was the Bible. That's an important book in my life, so I'd probably take that with me. Even though I usually read it on my phone now, I would want a hard copy of it so that I didn't have to depend on Wi-Fi, because I'm assuming that they're messing with the Wi-Fi. I would probably take my husband with me, because he'd probably enjoy it. Actually, I would probably take my nephew-in-law, who is really, really, really overly the top into Star Wars. I think he'd really enjoy that much more than me, because I am not into sci-fi stuff at all. And actually, the third one, I would probably take water too. I live in the desert. Water is just a vital part of my life. I think about it all the time. It's important to me. So those are the 3 things I'd take with me. But really, I would probably spend a lot of time trying to talk them out of taking me, because I really don't like sci-fi stuff. Madam Topics Master, back to you.
Thank you, Andrea. All right, the one person I haven't asked yet is Trisha. Trisha, I have a new question for you, but it still stays my alien theme. If aliens came to Earth to abduct you and you had the choice, would you go with them or not? So Trisha, if aliens came to Earth and gave you the choice to abduct you or not, would you go with them?
Thank you. Okay, if aliens came to abduct me but gave me the choice as to whether to go or not, I think that might be difficult. I think I might choose to go with them. Maybe I could be an ambassador for the human race by agreeing to go with them. I could explain our different cultures, since I am exposed to multicultures, I would be able to explain different habits and religions to them, so they would be able to communicate more properly between the different types of people. Maybe I would make that sacrifice, that I would be willing, if I could bring my family with me. My husband would talk them to death, so they probably get rid of us fairly quickly because they would not be able to shut him up. You have so many questions about everything. So in answer to your question, I think I would choose to go with them in hopes that I could be an ambassador to the human race.
Thank you, Tricia. I will turn this back over to our Toastmaster to continue our meeting.
Thank you, Tammy. That was fun. I really enjoyed that. And wouldn't you like to know the answers to those questions, right? What would we do if we're posed with being abducted by aliens? So at this point, I guess I'm the general evaluator, so I'm going to turn it back to me, put my general evaluator hat on, and introduce our first evaluator today, who is Aaron. And Aaron is going to be evaluating Andrea Sanger's speech. So Aaron, would you like to unmute yourself and take over in your evaluation for Andrea?
Thank you very much, Andrea. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster, and most especially to Andrea. I love this challenging manual. It's actually communicating on the video, whereby we actually have to focus from an audience perspective. That's why I was actually preparing to have dinner. This is the first thing that you enjoy from watching on TV and a video. So you have some snacks, you watch it and see whether it's really helpful. So I was understanding through the speech. The speech started off very clearly. It's very straightforward. We exactly know the objective of the video, meaning to teach us how to use the evaluation forms in the system. Very clear cut. I love it because all the steps she said is very clear. I can see exactly where she's going from. Every step that she said is very logically put forward too, and also is understandable with a picture at the side, with nice bold yellow picture wordings along to explain what each picture refers to. We follow it through, and it's really directly applicable, because if you are actually going to use the ATO website along with her video, you will find the exact same situation, which is what Andrea did very well for it. Give a round of applause for Andrea. Really love it. I would love to comment on Andrea on two things. First of all is about how I can make her video even better. The first suggestion is that if you notice in Andrea's speech itself, the pictures is very small. The fonts are small. So basically, if I'm watching from a video like that, I can't really see clearly. That's why I was actually looking at the screen very closely to see exactly what the picture would be. So the picture-wise, it can be expanded. Two, it's always good after the video presentation of different picture slides that you can go through with a real live demo. Because if you do it with a real live demo, you are showing what you actually mentioned as a form of summary. So if you actually do that in the form whereby I start from evaluating and talking about the main points, and at the end I see what you've taught me into practicable use. Because you have to think about communicating on the video, it also allows me to rewind because it's on the TV. So I can rewind it by record. So imagine if I rewind it, will I still understand it? Because your speed is pretty quick. Because it's like chop, chop, chop. I understand exactly every single point. So if you slow down, it's actually even better. Because I want to hear exactly the step without rewinding. Because I want to achieve my purpose of your video, to understand how to use the evaluation forms, making sure that that will be my future use. So effectiveness-wise, I will give it a 70%. If you want to top it up with the 30%, do a wrap-up at the end with a live demo. Let me show you how easy it can be. First of all, click on the ATO website, and then you use your mouse, making sure that you can see the fonts. Click on it, and then that's where the direction goes, the evaluation form. show examples along it, and make it looks easy for people to be interested to try. That will be the second objective of the video. All in all, I love it. I love to see the improvements next time, but it's one video that I will be watching. Back to you.
Hi, Aaron. Would you like to lead the second
Yeah.
portion of that? That's fine.
I forgot.
It's okay.
Okay.
You did a great job.
Now is time whereby it's for round robin evaluation. May I invite any speaker to be evaluating our Andrea's speech? May I start from Tricia?
Yes, thank you. Andrea, I thought you did a very good job. Like Aaron said, it was very clear, step by step, showing us. My only suggestion, and again, this happens to all of us because it is a fairly new format of doing the presentations and going through the slides. So if you lose your place, just don't say you're sorry. Just get to where you should be and start again. We all know the struggle. So you can take that to heart, regroup, and just start again. Don't say you're sorry. This is no place to say you're sorry. That's my only comment.
And then give a round of applause. And then may I invite Dawn to be giving some sort of slight feedbacks on it?
Andrea, again, I think you did a great job. I enjoyed the content of Andrea's speech or her presentation of communicating on video. And I actually liked the fact that you did the PowerPoint as opposed to doing a live demo, because I've tried to do this live demo in a way that's a live demo, and it is much more difficult. So I appreciate your taking the time to do the screenshots and actually put it together in a way that we can still receive the benefit of it, and it creates a calm space for you to actually go through it and give that information so we can, and future members can, go through that process without trying to catch up, or it just felt easy for me. It felt easier than the way I did it when I tried to do it, so I appreciated that. Back to you, Aaron.
Thank you. May I invite Angela to give some comments? Oops.
I just really appreciated the speech in general. Preparing to give my first evaluation today, it was great to know that it was out there and how to get there. So I don't have any comments on your speech, but thank you for the topic.
And finally, may I invite Tammy to give some comments on Andrea's speech?
I guess I don't have a lot more to add to it other than the other comments. I thought it went a little fast, but I also realized you're trying to give the speech in a very short amount of time. And maybe part of it was I was trying to follow along the website too, so I was doing two things at once, which is probably my own fault. But it was very informative. I didn't know what was all out there on the ATO website, so very much appreciative. Now I know what to look for. So I think you did a good job using the technology. That's all I have.
Thank you very much for everyone's contribution to Andrea, and looking forward to a great speech from Andrea. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Aaron. And at this time, I'm going to ask Angela to unmute herself and prepare to evaluate Tricia on her speech, and remind you that we do this round robin thing at the end, so you can manage that as well. So help me welcome Angela.
First, I'd like to say thank you for a fun speech, Tricia. When we were talking after last week's meeting, you had indicated that I would get to choose what I got to know about you first, and you gave me some great topics to choose from. Dawn indicated that this wasn't a secret, but it was to me because I hadn't met Opal Isner before. So I had fun doing that. Even though this was an impromptu speech, I thought you did a great job with the introduction. It was very catchy. You drew us in right from the beginning. I am currently binge watching NCIS, so I had this whole spy thing in my mind and going undercover. And then you told us that this was really about a role-playing character, which my husband has spent lots of time doing, so I knew exactly where you were going after that. A couple suggestions for improvement. When you start talking about how you created the name and your friend did his backwards, I found myself writing down OPALLAPO. And so I got a little bit distracted with that. Maybe a little bit quicker, you could have said, this is what I didn't want to do that. The other thing that I was really missing was a call to action. This is my secret name. What's yours? What's your story? And you'll find that that's a theme that I will probably repeat. I am very big on a call to action in every speech. Overall, you are a great storyteller. Thank you for standing up and giving us the full effect of your body language. I appreciated that. You have a very, very expressive voice, and that was a lot of fun to listen to. You have an expressive face. My video was lagging a little bit, so there were times that your words didn't match your face, but I could still get the effect. There's times I could hear the smile in your voice, especially when you're talking about Peter. It was a great speech. I appreciate the speech and getting to know you, and I look forward to getting to know more down the road. So I will ask if anybody would like to start with additional feedback for Tricia. The volunteers, Dawn?
Yeah, I have something quick that I'd like to add. Tricia, I love your speeches. I think you are just, as always, a phenomenal storyteller. There's one thing that I'd like to invite you to do, or just to pay attention to. I don't know if it's a distraction to me, but every once in a while, there was a really high pitch something going on. And I don't know if it was because it was such an impromptu speech that you went into this, and it was almost like I don't even know. And I don't know if it's a distraction yet or not. So I'm just maybe pay attention to it as you go further and do more impromptu speeches, because I haven't heard that before. So this might have been just one of those situations. I enjoyed your speech. And again, I could listen to you tell stories every week and I'd be happy. So back to you, Angela.
All right, thank you, Dawn. Andrea, do you have any comments for Tricia?
I really appreciate that you stand up. I don't think that I have the guts to do that, so I appreciate that you do stand up. I get distracted when you stand in that corner because I can see the flashing light from, I think it's your thermometer or something else right on that wall. If you stood a little closer to where you're sitting, that would be helpful for me, so I wasn't distracted by the things going on behind you. But otherwise, great speech. Awesome. Yay. Back to you, Angela.
Thank you, Andrea. Tammy?
I thought this was a great speech as well. A couple of weeks ago, I think you spoke, and you talked about Peter from the Bible. So when you mentioned Peter, I thought, uh-oh, does she have a crush on Peter from the Bible? But this was a different Peter. So that was kind of fun. I just really enjoy your storytelling ability. You kind of draw us into this is how this whole thing came to be. And you made us kind of think about what our name is backwards, what that could be our secret name. And I appreciate, as I think Andrea mentioned, the standing up to the whole visual effect. Maybe that's a challenge for us to try also as we learn to explore this online speaking environment, how we could take our traditional Toastmaster experience and practice standing up and speaking in front of the Zoom camera. So that's my comments. Good speech.
Right. Thank you, Tammy. Erin, do you have anything to add for Tricia?
I was actually looking for my toy gun, but I couldn't find it. Because the first thing that I will actually think about from all the other evaluation was that hasn't mentioned is your first impressions. When you stand up, you talk about that story about the secret name. I was actually thinking about the toy gun like this. Like this is an alien gun. So it's just like you can actually try to show that the interactiveness, the connection, that would be the only suggestion. But everything is fine. I was looking forward to a secret James Bond movie along the whole speech, but I wasn't. In the end, it wasn't that. So that's the only disappointment. But it's okay.
Right. Now I'll turn it back over to our general evaluator, Dawn.
Thank you. Thank you. And at this time, I'm going to present the timers report. And thank you to those people who evaluated me and my time while I was doing that. For our first speech, Andrea, you were at 7 minutes and 30 seconds, but that was with the issues at the beginning. So your speech was really short. Actually, it was a very effective and short speech. So I appreciate that. And Trisha, you were at 4 minutes and 46. So you were really quick. And the evaluation portion, well, the table topics here. Aaron, 2 minutes, 20 seconds. Angela, 1 minute, 15 seconds. Dawn, 1 minute, 7 seconds. Andrea, 1 minute, 10 seconds. Trisha, 1 minute, 14 seconds. And then with our evaluations, everybody was just right at about three minutes. Aaron, you were at 3 minutes, 17 seconds. Angela, you were at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. With the additional 2 minutes is what I give for the additional evaluation, which we were pretty good on that. And since our meeting is structured the way it is, I felt that we did a really great job with the timing of the meeting. And we are at 12 minutes and 42 seconds, or 42 minutes after the meeting. We still have time for our meeting to do many other things if we need to, but I felt that everybody did a good job. And Angela, were you able to do any grammarian and awe counting? Before I got up here and started spouting ahs continuously, machine gunning ahs?
I didn't do a lot. I did notice that we have a couple individuals who like the word so. I would say that is something that we can watch. It's not one of the traditional filler words, but that's the word that caught my attention today. And I started writing down fun phrases and then got caught up in the meeting and didn't write down anymore. So I failed.
No failures at all. And even giving a general impression of the energy of the grammar and the utilization of phrases, I think is valuable for us, even if there's nothing specific. So I appreciate that. So thank you. And overall, I love our club. Even when half the people are not here, we all show up ready to do it, and it feels very organized. It doesn't feel like there's a lot missing, even though there are things missing, right? So people, and we want more people to be here. Yeah. And so that's my general evaluation of our meeting. I'm very happy that we do the additional piece of the evaluation, the round robin thing for each speaker. That will continue to be something that I'm going to try to remember to make sure that we do that as a general evaluator and as the evaluator. So I appreciate that. And at this time, I am going to just ask for any general comments about the meeting anything else that was helpful. Andrea, did you want to say anything at all about your experience with doing this? Because this was a kind of a tough speech. Your experience doing this online?
I think I'd like to redo it at some point so it's a little bit smoother. I don't know what happened at the beginning because I tried it before we started and then didn't work when I started. I just would like to see it a little bit smoother. I think that I went fast because I knew about how long it would take, and I knew that I had issues at the beginning, and I didn't want to run really far over on that. So I think that I would really appreciate it if we could, even if you put it up this time, but we might want to clip that and then redo it at some point. I know it's kind of hard because I would have to do it in a Zoom meeting and again in some shape or form. And I'm not sure everybody wants to listen to it a second time. So there's my so words.
Sounds great.
I will listen again. I will listen again.
Yeah, I will listen again too, because there's something about a new perspective or a fresh perspective of going through the website and the way you did it. Like, I don't even know that I knew that there was a member. What was the link that you had at the side? I mean, where you were sharing
the member dashboard.
Yeah, the member dashboard. Like, I don't even know that I'm aware that that's there, because that's not the way I go through it. So that was very helpful for me to see how members use the website differently. So anytime, and there's those so words again, just to let you know, Angela, it's like the new filler word, like, of the future. It's the way we do things. Not that it's good at all. So catch me when I say so.
I actually looked that up, and it is becoming the new phrase, and you will hear it on TV. Regular sports casters and newscasters are using the word "so" to start things now, because that is become the norm. It's kind of crazy. It shouldn't be, but it is.
Yes, I appreciate the diligent looking it up to make sure that it's acceptable, and letting us know as Toastmasters that we have a higher vision for ourselves, like reminding us that we do have a higher vision for ourselves, even though we still use so. Anyone else?
I have one other question.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you mentioned the grammarian role, and I don't know how the club does it, but do you typically, normally we sign up ahead of time to do this, have a word of the day? Do you do that?
It depends on who's doing the grammarian report. I sort of sprung it on Angela,
right,
and asked her to do that at last minute today. But typically, yes, we'll do that. The thing that's different about our club and what we have done, eventually we might change this again eventually, is that we've combined the grammarian and the counter role, because it suits itself for an online environment to combine those two. However, if we have more people, we won't need to combine those two at all. We'll just separate those again and have those be separate roles.
And if the person signs up for grammarian ahead of time, which is ideal, I'd have to look, but I assume so because you are the experts on this. Is there a place on the agenda to put the word of the day?
No, there's not.
Okay.
There's not a place to put the word of the day. There's a place to put the theme of the day. So that's the only additional thing that you'll get. And if you wanted to combine the theme of the day with the word of the day, and Lori didn't do that today, so I just made up something at the last minute.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
This project was really fun, but because it's not a prepared speech, I had no idea how long it was going to be till I got done. And I was like, oh, I didn't see the green yet. Okay, I'm short.
I think you did a great job, Tricia. If you stick with what you know, which is storytelling, I just can't imagine that it's just not it's just a great tool for you to know that you're a good storyteller. Stick with storytelling, and because it sounded like a prepared speech. I thought that you had prepared for it. That's how well you pulled it off. So
Thank you. I actually did this, not this one, but I did impromptu yesterday at my brick and mortar club. They chose How I Met My Husband as that one, and I pretty much got the same feedback as that. I'm enthusiastic and I tell stories well. So
yes,
it's something good to know about myself, because I didn't think I was a good storyteller.
Yeah, totally own it, because you have something that you might be able to share with other Toastmasters. Like, I'm not a great storyteller. I would like to even talk to you about that sometime outside of Toastmasters. I'm more of like a bullet point person and not so much a storyteller, so I would like to learn more about that. So great. So there's all those souls in there. And at this time, I think we went over the agenda, that what we could before the meeting. I'm going to stop recording now, and I'll put the gavel down so we can say meeting adjourned. So if you need to leave, you can.